Strength-based approach in inclusive education. Our lesson objective for today is to recognize strength-based approach to help students with special needs. Education is a paradigm that emphasizes the positive attributes and capabilities of individuals rather than focusing on their deficits or weaknesses. The strength-based approach focuses on identifying and building upon individuals' strengths, resources, and resilience. Unlike traditional models that emphasize weaknesses, this approach empowers people by recognizing their abilities and potential. It encourages collaboration, promotes positive change, and fosters a more optimistic perspective in areas like counseling, education, and community development. By focusing on what's right, rather than what's wrong, the strength-based approach helps individuals overcome challenges and thrive. Central to the strength-based approach is the empowerment of individuals. By focusing on their strengths, it instills a sense of confidence and self-determination in students, enabling them to take charge of their own learning and development. Maria, a grade 10 student, struggled with math but excelled in visual arts and communication. Her teacher encouraged her to leverage these strengths in class projects, such as creating posters to explain math concepts. This approach boosted Maria's confidence, making her realize her creativity benefited both herself and her classmates. Gradually, she became more engaged in learning and started setting personal improvement goals, shifting her self-perception from a weak student to one with unique strengths. This approach is client-led, meaning it prioritizes the perspectives and aspirations of the individual. By involving students in goal-setting and decision-making processes, it ensures that their unique needs and preferences are acknowledged and addressed. In a guidance session, a student expresses anxiety about choosing a college course. Instead of giving direct advice, the counselor uses open-ended questions like, "What are you passionate about?" and "What do you see yourself doing in the future?" Through this process, the student is encouraged to explore their interests, values, and long-term goals. It empowers the student to take ownership of their decision, fostering confidence and self-awareness. Positive reinforcement plays a crucial role in the strength-based approach. By highlighting and celebrating students' achievements and strengths, it fosters a supportive and nurturing learning environment where individuals feel valued and motivated to excel. Take for example, during a class discussion, Maria, who typically struggles with speaking, confidently shared her opinion. Her teacher praised her insight, leading to applause from the class. This positive reinforcement boosts Maria's confidence and encourages participation, fostering a supportive classroom culture where students feel valued and recognized. 4. Holistic assessment. Rather than focusing solely on academic performance, the strength-based approach takes a holistic view of students, considering their interests, talents, and personal attributes. This comprehensive assessment helps educators tailor instruction to meet the diverse needs and strengths of learners. One student in Ms. Ramirez's classroom, Mike, struggles with written tests in science but shows a deep curiosity about how machines work. Through the holistic assessment, Ms. Ramirez discovers that Mike loves building models and enjoys explaining how things function using diagrams. Recognizing this strength, she allows Mike to demonstrate his understanding of scientific concepts by creating a project and presenting it to the class, rather than taking a traditional paper test. This approach not only boosts Mike's confidence but also helps Ms. Ramirez support him in a way that values his strengths while still meeting academic goals. 5. Collaborative partnership. Collaboration is key to the success of the strength-based approach. It involves building strong partnerships between educators, students, families, and community members to support students' growth and development. By working together, stakeholders can leverage their collective resources and expertise to create meaningful learning experiences for students. 6. Resilience and adaptability. The strength-based approach recognizes that challenges and setbacks are a natural part of the learning process. Instead of viewing them as obstacles, it encourages individuals to develop resilience and adaptability, using their strengths to overcome difficulties and achieve success. 7. Culturally responsive practice. Cultural competence is essential in implementing the strength-based approach effectively. Educators must recognize and respect the cultural backgrounds and identities of students, integrating their diverse perspectives and experiences into the learning process. In a diverse classroom like that of Ms. Lopez, she incorporates oral storytelling projects to honor the indigenous students' cultural heritage. She invites students to share folk tales and family histories, promoting self-expression and engagement. This approach boosts confidence among underrepresented students and fosters mutual respect. By integrating cultural practices, Ms. Lopez demonstrates cultural competence and utilizes her students' backgrounds as strengths in learning. 8. Continuous improvement. The strength-based approach is not static but rather dynamic and ongoing. It involves continuous reflection and refinement of practices based on feedback and outcomes, ensuring that the needs and strengths of students are consistently met.
Strengths-based. It seems so logical. Pay attention to the good things, downplay the not so good. Pay attention to the strengths, not the faults. Sounds easy maybe, but not always so easy to put into practice. Think about it. Most of us have grown up being told when we were wrong, when we'd made a mistake. But when we got something right, maybe not so much. When you came home with a bad mark on a test, did your parents say, "What happened? We practiced that, so why didn't you get it right?" Or did they say, "Wow, you knew this answer. Well done." And are you behaving the same way with your own children? Research backs up that old familiar saying, "What goes around comes around." What we pay attention to grows, and what we recognize as positive, that grows too. If we pay attention to the negative, the not so good mark, guess what? That's what we get more of. But if we pay attention to the positive behaviors, to the strengths and talents our children possess, we'll get more of those positives. Think of how you feel when you're doing something you're good at. You feel great, right? You want to keep feeling that way, so you want to keep doing what you do well. And don't you want your own children to have this same positive feeling, to be successful at what they're good at, and to feel good about themselves because of it? There's nothing that motivates us more, whether we're adults or children, than to know we're good at something. Kids get that motivation in large part from parental recognition and approval. Praise them for doing something good, and they'll do it again and again. Sure, doing something that sounds so easy takes practice, and you're not always going to get it right. But the more we can focus on what our children are doing correctly, the more likely it is that they will grow into happy, healthy adults. Look for positives in all scenarios. For example, what if your child can't sit still? This says he has a lot of energy. So let's figure out how to use this energy in a positive way. You can use these positives as strengths to help you get through any situation. Practice every day. Look for one positive thing your child has done that day, and let them know you've noticed. Or ask your child to tell you about it in their own words. Then ask, how did that make you feel? When your child, or anyone else in your world, behaves positively, acknowledge it. When we focus on the positives, we develop confidence and are willing to grow and
A strength-based approach empowers individuals by focusing on their abilities, talents, and potential rather than their weaknesses or deficits. It promotes hope, resilience, and a more positive path to growth and well-being. As Donald Clifton, the father of strength psychology, once said, "What would happen if we studied what is right with people instead of fixing what's wrong with them?" This perspective reminds us that true transformation begins when we recognize and build upon the strengths that already exist within each person.
And that's a wrap for today's lesson. I hope you learned something valuable and informative. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and remember, keep growing, keep learning, and keep being awesome. This is Ma'am Jessica saying have a nice day and see you in the next one.